Spoken.
He lurked in the shadows, waiting and hoping she wouldn't take a different route. This was a usual room. He knew that. He knew her.
Ghost of Me, the new book by Amanda Steele, can be found at Amazon, Kobo, Waterstones, and many, many other places. Hi guys, it's Andy N. Thanks today for downloading or streaming yet another episode of Spoken Label. As you may or may not be aware, Spoken Label was started in the beginning of 2006, and currently we have well over 150 sessions recorded since then. Although you can find it on various networks, the full archive is available for streaming and downloading at Spoken Label bandcamp.com. It is a free download or free streaming there, but obviously if you feel like chucking me a few pennies that way, it'd be eternally grateful to help me keep this podcast going and keep improving my equipment, etc. Enjoy. Speak to you soon. Bye bye. Spoken Label.
Hi guys, Andy N, Spoken Label, back in the house again. Back on Zoom again this morning as well, and I've got another poet with me, of course. Now, the young lady I'm chatting to, I first came over with this young lady about 4 years ago now, right on the outside, beginning of Spoken Label, and it's just took a while to get things, our timelines configured. So, lady in question is Natalie. Now, Natalie Crick, do you want to introduce yourself, everybody, tell them who you are, and where, obviously, tell a bit about your background, obviously, like, and where you're living now, and where you're originally from, and where your writing originally came from. We'll start.
Yeah, so I've lived around the northeast kind of most of my life, really. So I started off, I sort of grew up in like Sunderland kind of area, and then I moved through to Newcastle to start at university where I was an undergraduate. So that was quite a while ago, in 2008, and then I studied for a master's at the same university, which was Newcastle. I started my master's in 2017 and I graduated last Christmas. And I started to really enjoy kind of writing the poems more when I started university the first time. I sort of was able to connect with more creative people, and I sort of started to get inspired by the kind of friends who I met who sort of enjoyed writing poetry as well. And then I sort of started to find out that there were places where I could send my poems, like journals and magazines. So I started trying to send my poems out, and I had a lot of rejections and I had some things taken. So yes, so it started there really.
Yeah, brilliant. Now, obviously in relation to your work self, and obviously, because I can relate to this, because when I did my degree originally some years ago. Sorry about this, I've got thinking people in the background here. Right. So it's typical this. You come on larger podcast and people start pinging you over this. Right. Okay, I should stop it now. Right, okay, yeah. I know in my case, when I started off writing originally, I had some part of geology writing as a kid, really. And I went to university quite late on, I was 27. And that's when the bug really hit me afterwards, when you start connecting with other creative people, don't you? And I think when you get like that, if it really gets you, you know it's going to be there for the rest of your life, really, isn't it? So that's why, certainly. I like it, and I can see, obviously, looking at obviously your Facebook profile, etc. Like everyone look research you online, they can find out how many things you've had published. Like you've had a lot of stuff published past few years, so it's incredible. Like you said, you're all submitting, aren't you? So.
Yeah, like so I have had a lot of things maybe published over the years. I kind of started off just in quite small kind of blogs and things, and now I have kind of tried to move into things in print, and I've had a few things kind of shortlisted in like various competitions, like the Hippocrates Prize for Health and the Mslexia Prize in 2018. And I read at the Verve Poetry Festival as well when I got my poem commended in the Verve Poetry Prize this year, which was nice too. So.
But do you think your work's changed much over the past couple of years, and with you getting so much stuff accepted? So obviously, like you're often looking at things different ways, aren't you? Because your writing is very analytical. I think I can see that as where you are as a person. It's like you'll be finding all the time you're developing and changing, won't you? Looking how to improve yourself.
Yeah, like I think for me, maybe trying to join in more like writing workshops has helped me to get more sort of structure to my poems and make them more kind of technically sound maybe than they were when I was younger. I am sort of changing my style maybe more of a refined style than how I was when I was younger, and I was just like writing about things I was interested in without sort of any real structure to the pieces, but now they're sort of turning into more of a refined thing maybe.
I think they are, because when you I'm always a firm believer that you need education in writing. It's not the case of like I know people that are brilliant writers. They've not gone down the educational route, but I think it's something that's good if you study the stuff just to see how people work on it. And that's what you've done, haven't you? So, and like have you found any writers that really stood out to you then when you do your degree and your masters? Any writers that you really liked that haven't stayed with you?
Yeah, like I think maybe the staff at the university who are my tutors, I kind of maybe hadn't read a lot of their work, and kind of prior to joining the uni, like maybe Tara Bergen's work. I really, really love her poems. And obviously Bill Herbert's work I like really enjoy. Sean O'Brien's poems, and then also like students who are in the classes with me, who are my friends. There are like amazing like writers there as well who are starting to send out to journals like me and just sort of trying to like emerge a little bit.
I think you do is when you're doing the math, what you've done there in your education, you're with other writers and you're egging each other on, aren't you? Whether you subconsciously, certainly. So now, anybody who doesn't know your work, is there any sort of recurring themes that crop up in this, do you think?
Yeah, like, so most of my poems are fairly dark. There's no sort of
That's true.
kind of light-hearted, like humorous ones in there. But I suppose the recurring themes are maybe health, maybe death as well. Some sort of fairy tale, quite surreal poems in there as well. I've written a bit about grief, relationships, that kind of thing. There's not really anything happy in there, to be honest.
You're like me in that, because like I'm one of the most serious writers you can ever hope to meet, but they're one of the most unserious people you can ever hope to meet. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
I think you're the same, like, sort of level, aren't you?
Yeah. Yeah, like I am quite like, I'm not like a dark person to hang around with. I'm not like really like a morbid kind of character, but I do have like really sort of dark poems.
Hey ho, is what it is, isn't it? Now I know obviously you've done some readings, haven't you? So have you done lots of reading over the years, have you? Or have you been more the page side?
I think I have been a lot more on the page side, but so I read at the Newcastle Poetry Festival for 2 years running on in 2018, 2019, and I think reading at that sort of helped me to get to be more of a confident reader. So I started to read in sort of local poetry readings around the Northeast. So like things like Steve Irwin's Poetry Jam, which is like a monthly night. So I've read that, and just like various sort of bars and pubs, things like that. Yeah.
No, same for me, because I'm a believer in that sort of thing where I don't go along with the high pressure ones, because some of them are ridiculous, the pressure you put yourself under with them. But I think I go to 4 a month now with my partner, and we co-run one of them. So it's like then another one we go to is in an art gallery. It's different vibes everywhere you go sometimes. And I think I like meeting writers. That's all it is really. So.
Yeah, like I think it's the kind of place where you can make friends and you can make connections with people, which is occasionally like even nicer than the actual like readings. It's like it is just nice to make new friends and to share your work and to hear other people's work and to sort of connect with people.
Yeah, I agree with you. Now, obviously, I want to ask you about your online magazine that you're running, Fragmented Voices. Now, where did the idea for this come from?
Yeah, so Fragmented Voices is run by myself and my friend Natalie Nera, who lives in Prague, and at the moment it is like an online journal, but we also have a call out for love poems, which is going to be a print anthology, and it's meant to just try to showcase maybe voices which might not normally be heard, like maybe writers who write in various languages, who maybe write predominantly translations, or maybe writers who haven't really had a lot of things published. So we try to encourage people who are maybe more of a diverse writer to send us their poems, and also prose and also artwork, which we publish online. And then we're going to publish our love poems anthology later this year as well.
Fingers crossed you then. So I know I've been following your magazine and I've not submitted anything across yet because I tend to sometimes forget things. You're not.
Oh, you'll have to submit to us.
I'll get that. I'm not that sort of person. I get everything sometimes. But yeah, certainly you do seem to have a very wide range of material, I guess, published in your journal. And it also, I said, it shows some like, obviously, I didn't know it was true. Like, it showed that you both got very, very wide ranging reading tastes on it and everything like that. So what exactly do you find when you set this magazine up trying to pair with it? Was that what you're looking for? Trying to get as much wide range of material as you can then, really?
Yeah, like really trying to get a wide range, and also from like maybe writers' personalities and like their own interests as well. So like we try to get like maybe writers who are really into spoken word, and then maybe more sort of established writers who are like a page poet. And then we've had like photography submissions, kind of a really wide range of like paintings, creative essays as well. So yeah, we try to get like less traditional stuff maybe.
And it works really well in your magazine, because I recommend everybody to check it out, definitely. So now, obviously, going forward for yourself, and I always like this word, going forward, where would you like your writing to take you next then? Do you have any sort of ideas or plans?
So I'm probably trying to put a pamphlet together, my first full-length pamphlet. So I'm like maybe trying to get all of the poems that I've written together to try to put them into some kind of order, and then like maybe try and think of a pamphlet. I'm working on a writing residency at Newcastle University at the moment as well, and I'm like writing poems based on health. So I'm trying to maybe write more about health and try to see what kind of a direction that can take me.
Yeah, definitely that one. So yeah, good luck with it, definitely. So when your pamphlet's done then, do you think, are you going to be looking for a publisher for this, or do you reckon you'll try and publish it yourself?
I would probably be looking for a publisher. So there are lots of different publishers out there which I love. So I'd have to try to see who would like to have it.
Yeah,
so
out there, trying to get the right one that fits your voice in it. Yeah, it's not easy. Good luck with it, definitely. So, okay, if people want to find out more about you, Natalie, where are they best going?
I hadn't heard the question, sorry.
Oh, sorry, okay. Sorry, my laptop's playing for it today. If people want to find out more about you, Natalie, where are they best going?
So probably I have a Twitter page, I have an Instagram page, Facebook, and then maybe just if people were to search for my name, maybe on Google, kind of all sorts of my poems come up in the search engine. I have my own page on the Newcastle University website, which explains a bit about the research that I'm doing at the moment at the university. My research about sort of trauma, things like that. So yeah, I think probably the internet is a pretty good place. And then some of my journals are sold in various outlets as well, if you wanted like an individual magazine, things like that.
I'll speak to your mic about that one. Okay, that's brilliant. Okay, what we'll then do is, that's all my questions anyway, Natalie. So we'll pause the recording, and then we'll let everyone take a breather, and let's both take a quick breather. And then when we come back, everybody, you can read out a few poems for us, Natalie, if that's okay.
Okay, lovely. Yeah.
Brilliant. Thank you again. Hang around, guys. As always, see you then.
Spoken, mate.
Hi guys, still here with Natalie. So straight over to Natalie now, and she's got a selection of her poems for us. One of those days today. Over to you, Natalie. Go for it.
So I'll start reading a poem that I wrote during my master's course, and it's been published in the Manchester Review. So, I see you. It has been a meatless season and a muted harvest. The dead fruit warps from the trees. We watch it like something forbidden. The bold mice I found in the cellar this morning linger like grease smears, even after Sister drew the dead things out. The absence in this house is curdled in sour milk. I see you looming when the moon is most pale and fog lifts from the cornfield with shallow breath. You're dark like a shadow on a lung. You always call out when you are near. Follow Sister around our bare house, running cold fingers along the kitchen counter, dragging the night behind with your thin wrists into the attic room, spreading your smell and searching for children to cull from their beds like weeds. I remember when she and you spent hours together in that beautiful, lonely room before everything you touched bled or grew strange. Tonight, thrushes are shuddering into a sky heavy with rain that will fall like bells upon husks of wheat, stirring the quiet hum of pollen. He himself must be weeping up there in heaven, condemning us once again. I see you looming, dark. The room echoes into itself. Sister hollows like an old animal bone, laces fingers over deep scars, and begins to clean the sink. She lights a black candle on her tongue, childhood closing around her face like a fist. So that was quite a long one.
Yeah, no. It's dark. Yeah, everyone's wondering, that is quite a dark poem. It's fantastic. I went to the Manchester Review. I went and thought, right, I can follow you reading this one. That's brilliant. Really enjoyed that.
Oh, thank you. So I'll read a little bit of a shorter one now. That's not quite as dark. So I'll read this one. Love is a lonely thing, one dark tree in a clearing of snow. The wind through it calls her name. We are root pale, dreaming behind shutters. Bloody maple leaves fall. On the ground, fruit, black, and beyond the mute lake, a child's doll in cold sand. So that was not quite as dark.
That's beautiful. What's that second one called, Natalie? Sorry.
So that one is Red. That one.
Brilliant. You can tell me what the names of the poems are. I was grateful. We're grateful on that. Okay.
Okay, no worries.
Excellent stuff. Okay.
So I'll read another one now that was in the new Welsh Review, and this one is called In Remembrance. We fashion a memorial to our daughter. She's dead a year this fall. A heart-shaped plaque, a card with her name. On this dark day, we try to grow her again. We make sacrifices. The lung is my brother's, still warm. This eye, it is myself. Grandad's heart is here, industrial red. I slice off his shaking hands for her too. We have a scapula, a bit of hip bone, a lip. I sop up the blood, rinse out my mouth. Her face is stitched from the cheeks of her sisters, but it is growing paler and paler. We bury each in slow light against shriveling roses, black, but she is still missing some parts.
Excellent. Excellent. Brilliant. Again, really vivid, that one again, so I enjoyed that. Okay. When you're ready for number 4 then.
So I'll read the one that I got commended in the Verve Poetry Festival Competition this year, which was commended by Andrew McMillan, the judge. It's on the theme of mental health, so I'll read this one. It's not too long. The acute admissions ward. If silence were a building, it would be a mental hospital during the Christmas holidays, when you are told you cannot leave. I'm told a house is waiting out there in silence with a nurse and an alarm. We are dissociates in flowered pyjamas who lick our wish food. Our faces are mineral in colour. This silence is blue rain stirring the dirt in our brains, the silence of long sleeps, the silence of thick shells, the silence of white pills. Silence is the taste of tongue, teeth and lips, mangled inside a Death Star where thoughts are cut soft and grey at the root. TARDIS, dyskinesia, nooses and matches.
Brilliant again. Okay, what's that 4th one called, Natalie? Sorry.
That 4th one is called the Acute Admissions Ward, and that was in the Verve competition.
Yeah, that's what I want to double check then. That's what I thought you said. Okay. Okay, and I know you've got at least another one or two for us, haven't you? So.
Yeah, so I'll read one that I've just recently had published in the Orbis Quarterly International Literary Journal. So I'll read this one, it's not too long. 30 days. Let us pace your room for signs of life. Let the cake turn dry, candles blown out. Let us slice it into squares with an ill-suited sharp knife. Let the bees scare white and die. Let the sun sink, the moon watching, unmoved. Let all you strangers stay away from this fucking house. Let all who enter hold their breath for fear of saying the wrong thing. Let your phone go on ringing and ringing, but then stop. Let me think of nothing again except you.
Brilliant. Yeah, no, really good stuff. Okay, last piece then? One more?
Yeah, so I'll read one that was published quite a few years ago in the Interpreter's House magazine, and this is called The Baby's Breath. On rainy days, I give myself permission to touch the glass and see your remains, tissues, shadows, all that is left of you. You're dancing with ghosts over dark hills. When I stand in your old room, I feel so sad that I masturbate, your tiny hands trembling away from my throat. So that's another
brilliant. Yeah,
short
great
and
way.
Sweet one.
Great stuff. Perfect way to finish it off there, Natalie. So hang around. I need a quick word off mic. But an excellent session today. Thank you again. Okay, so.
Okay, fantastic.
Super fun, enjoyed it. Thank you. This is Andy N. Thank you, Natalie, again, and see you all soon, guys. Take care. See you soon.
Spoken. Thanks again for listening to another session of Spoken Label. Our full archive can be found over on Bandcamp at Spoken Label. That's one word. Spoken Label. Full stop. Bandcamp.com. And there is over 150 sessions there. So I'm sure that if you've enjoyed this session, there'll be something else there you can enjoy as well. Take care. Bye bye. Spoken Label.